Ben, I'll start with you. Let's accentuate the positive, if we can. Who's happy with Brexit? What's been gained?
Well, the first point to make is that we haven't got Brexit yet. We have Northern Ireland left behind in the European Union, and the Brexit deal that Prime Minister Johnson signed binds us into non-regression on key policy issues. So we can't actually deviate from EU laws in key policy areas.
This precise thing we're dealing right now, that it just shows how much of a con Brexit always was. Because the reason Ben says that we haven't got Brexit is because Northern Ireland is still in the single market. Is Norway in the EU? Norway is not in the EU, yet it's in the single market, even more in the single market than Northern Ireland is. So this idea of we haven't got Brexit just means that when he sold people Brexit in 2016, it was on a list of things that were never actually going to end up coming true. And that's why what's happening now is happening now. And even he said that this is actually worse than staying in the EU. In fact, he tried to go to the Supreme Court to make that point. The fact is that the people who actually are in charge of the economy, people who promised Brexit, delivered Brexit, they're experts in government. The government's official experts say that Brexit has been more damaging to our economy long term than COVID, costing a 4% drop in GDP relative to where we would have been had we not left the EU. So this is making people poorer.
What we already hear from this conversation is one of the issues is that we can't move on because we're still arguing about what Brexit means. There's an economy to be run. There's UK politics to be run. It's awfully hard to do that when we're still discussing whether we should have left the EU or not in 2016, and when it looks like that's going to dominate the discourse. Yes, there's been a little bit of an economic hit. Could be quite a big economic hit. It'll be even bigger if we don't actually stop talking about it and work out where we are now as an economy and where we need to go to.
That's precisely the point. It is the politics that's getting in the way of it, and it's the politics that led us to Brexit in the first place. Because, as you say, there are major challenges that we have to deal with. There is a cost of living crisis. People are struggling to pay their bills. This winter is going to be very bad. The news came out today that the UK economy shrank by 0.2%, which means we might be heading towards a recession. All this stuff needs to be dealt with. But in order to deal with those things, we need to deal with the problems linked to Brexit. So, for example, the fact that fishermen are struggling to sell their products. They say they're losing £300 million over 5 years. Small businesses are struggling to sell. All those issues need concrete solutions, and most of them involve alignment with the EU single market. But if you have people such as Ben, or people such as the Brexiteers who constantly say, no, but if you do that, you'll be betraying the will of the people from 6 years ago. If we forget 2016 for a second and just look rationally, logically, objectively at what is best for the people of the UK right now where we are, then the things that we need to do in terms of alignment with the EU, in terms of fixing the labor shortage and bringing people in and getting rid of the barriers at the border, all those things are simple to do. Yes, we join the EU, not a simple concept. But the act of simply alignment with EU rules and negotiating some sort of single market deal, which the EU offered many, many times over the last few years, that's quite a straightforward process, and that can be done. The only thing in the way of it is the ideology of people like Ben who want to take us back to 2016 and act like somehow people who in 2016 knew exactly what they'd be getting now are on board with it, even though he himself is not.